Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome along. Okay. Not ready yet. This time. Start the meeting with the one or two things to do. I'll just sit down again. Do we have any apologies? We're all here, so no apologies. So that one, any identification of extraordinary business? Do you have something?
I have a resolution I'd like to introduce in under general business, if that's all right.
Okay, we'll put that in.
Yeah. I've got a resolution under general business too, please.
Okay, thank you. Any new conflict of interest from the board members that hasn't been previously notified to council?
I've updated all of mine with them, but it just hasn't updated on the sheet in the minutes, so the minutes show wrong. Thanks.
All right. Well, we all know what we have to do if there's anything of conflict of interest, just to notify the board and take no part in the discussion thereof. Now, is there any correspondence? Getting through pretty well. So we now come to the next thing, the public forum, and we have two requests today to talk. Usually 3, 4, 5 minutes each, and then the board's got any questions they ask you. So we'll start off with Harvey, Chairman of the Dartford Residents Association. Welcome along.
Thank you. Thank you. Just a matter of interest, I'm pleased to see Selwyn Water here because we're looking forward to the opportunity for the public input into the Darfield sewerage scheme, which was promised public consultation. So we're looking forward to that. You can see in front of you there what is greeting passengers on the train at the Darfield railway station. That was the subject of a snap send solved to Kiwi Rail on the 10th of December, followed up about a week later and promised that something action would happen. As of 2 hours ago, it's still what greets visitors to Darfield at the railway station. Now, I think that the community board needs to get in touch with Kiwi Rail and read the riot act, quite frankly. But what I think would be a good opportunity is to make the rail corridor between Kirwee and Springfield into a real flower type corridor where we could work together with all the residents associations, the garden clubs in the area, but obviously need Kiwi Rail's input to make the whole thing a corridor which passengers are going to be looking to view, take photos, give great publicity to the whole area. The total lack of input from Kiwi Rail is shocking. If you ring their number, it just simply goes to a phone that nobody answers. But it needs something to be done by the board to action this, and I think there's an opportunity there to make this a good scenic sort of a thing. We could use the likes of agapanthus, a lot of those sort of flowers that don't need a lot of maintenance, don't need a lot of water, and I believe over the years it could become a feature for the district rather than the eyesore that it currently is. Thank you.
You're suggesting a sort of an ongoing, each community to do a bit of the distance.
Yes, I think that would be quite feasible, but obviously we've got to get Kiwi Rail on board first, and it needs some strong action from the likes of this board to hold them to account. They're not playing their part in the community.
Are you sure about agapanthus is what you want?
Well, I don't know. That's just a suggestion.
I mean, in the North Island, I've just been up there, and they're a pest. And
There are agapanthus at Rolleston alongside the railway line there.
okay, all right.
But you know, I mean, we work with the local garden clubs. Somebody that knows what they're doing. I mean, you could have flaxes, you could have anything as far as I'm concerned, but I believe the whole corridor could be made to look a real tourist attraction rather than the eyesore that it currently is.
Would it need to be done in conjunction with the proposed trailway for the bike that hasn't got off the ground? Would that be separate?
I think it could be separate to that.
Okay.
You know, at the moment, if you just look alongside, for example, even in the Darfield Railway area there, alongside the fence lines behind the businesses there's opportunities to plant stuff. We also have the opportunity at the moment to use the back wall of farmlands, that big white wall, to do some sort of a mural, which I intend to take up with the high school in the new year once they start up, and see if we can't get, say, an art project for the local kids to get involved in doing a big massive mural on that, which would be a feature, you know, for the tourists.
All right. Well, board members, you've heard from Harvey. It's a grand scheme. It's not the first time the railway corridor has been looked at. In fact, there's quite a few clumps of trees about 30 years old, but they haven't been maintained. There's one outside the queues down there, and there's a few as you go, but this is a bit of a grand scheme, perhaps it's not a 5-minute job. So, ask any questions to Harvey if you've got. Bex? Yeah, sorry.
No, all good. I was just going to say thanks, Harvey. I also did a Snaps and Solve as well, as you know, for this lovely graffiti, and that was, gosh, that's when we were doing the grotto. So
That's right.
That's a long time, and hopefully when we get the Snaps and Solves, hopefully we can actually see what isn't being done. With regard to the Kiwi Rail, it does look a mess. I've had a look myself, and actually one of the nicest looking bits is the new rubbish refuge thing. Unfortunately, that's like the star of that place at the moment. So yeah, it definitely needs something done about it, but it's how big the board want to come to sort it all out together. So I'll leave everyone else to talk.
Yeah, well, obviously the railway don't take any notice of individual complaints, but it needs the board's muscle behind it to do something.
Samantha, have you got a question?
Yeah. In my board report, I intended to raise the train trial proposal that I'm wanting to propose. I think that would be a great benefit to raise this as I do that proposal, because it'll raise the emphasis for Kiwi Rail, which I eventually will engage with. So perhaps I can raise it with them as part of that process, working through that proposal, maybe.
Thank you. Yeah. Alan?
Yeah, I personally think, Harvey, thank you for raising this. I know you raised it at the DRA meeting, and it's disappointing that Kiwi Rail haven't done much. I think the only thing they do for the district is set fires with their trains on a hot, dry summer day. But I think it's not going to hurt for the board, and potentially also we should ask council to also write to them.
Harvey, thanks for your proposal. The some of that rail corridor looks to me to be leased. So there's loose end in some of it, and other crops in some other parts of it. So that's not all of it is an eyesore. But I certainly do agree with planting in wildflowers and those sorts of things to be able to improve the visual aspect of that. With regard to the Snapsen Solve, that will have gone direct from Snapsen Solve itself to Kiwi Rail. So it won't. I doubt that it will be showing through any council job log scheme at all. so it'll be going directly to their contractor. But in terms of raising the stakes and getting it in front of them, I agree there's an opportunity there for the board and wider council to be able to get something done in that area. Thanks.
Great.
All right, there's no further questions. Thank you, Harvey, and we've got a job to do. We'll probably get this through to council. You know, if we want a bit of clout, it's us and them. All right, thank you. Yeah. Zoran. Good afternoon. I haven't met you, but
Thank you. Nice to meet you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today, and my sincere apologies about last time. I took the time from the newspaper and it was 5:30, and by the time I realized it was 3, it was too late.
never mind, you're here now. So
Yeah. My name is Zoran Rakovic. I'm a husband, father, grandfather, and a retired structural engineer. I live here in Selwyn, and I'm standing as an independent candidate for Selwyn in the upcoming general election. I'm running as an independent because I think communities like Malvern can benefit more from MPs who are not squeezed into party boxes. Local issues don't come up in party colors. Independence means I can speak up when something matters, even if it's awkward or against party lines, and keep the focus on people on the ground rather than caucus loyalty. I want to start by thanking the Malvern Community Board. A lot of what you do happens quietly, meetings, follow-ups, pushing things along that most people never see. That work matters. It's how local voices actually get heard and local issues resolved. One issue that keeps coming up is the future of Darfield Hospital. For this community, that hospital isn't an abstract idea. It's where people get care close to home. Any move towards closing it or slowly running it down would hit this area hard. It's important that this stays front and center, not allowed to fade into the background. I also want to talk about climate change spending in a practical way. We seem to put a lot of effort into overseas agreements and big announcements about how to save the planet, a worthy goal. But I feel that people here are asking for something simpler, stronger, safer communities. Flood protection, drainage, bypasses, the kinds of projects already sitting on the board's agenda. Putting less money into optics and more money into those real-world fixes would make a difference people can actually see and feel. Another issue I'm hearing about is poor internet and mobile coverage. When the signal drops out, it affects kids' schooling, people working from home, health appointments, and even emergency calls. I'm actively looking into this and will keep pushing until there are clear answers. I also found out through trying to connect with the community that there is no like a central place where one can go and find out about community meetings like this one, like a schedule or a calendar. Selwyn Council's calendar usually, well, it covers entertainment and stuff for like more on a fun side. So I have set up what I call Selwyn Community Calendar, and I published information on Facebook, and I hope it takes up. And if anyone has any civic event, the resident association meeting, or AGM or stuff like that, please feel free to send me and I will update. If I'm elected, my promise is simple. I'll stay on the ground, not tucked away in Wellington caucus rooms. I'll keep turning up and listening here and asking the hard questions in Wellington, just as I did when I stood with over 500 families after the earthquakes, when it would have been easier to look away. Thank you for your time and for the work you do for Malvern communities.
thank you very much, Zoran. Now, open for discussion. Board members got any questions or comments?
Just with regards to the community meetings, I think we do have a website on the Selwyn website for Malvern Community Board area, which we can post up the meeting dates, and there we can look to do that.
Right. It's about I was more thinking about the information about all the places. It's hard when you want to go to get a book. You go to a library and you know where the library is, and you can go and pick a book. So if we have one place where all these events are scheduled, then if I want to go to whether I want to come to Malvern Community Board meeting or if I want to go to Sheffield meeting, I will find all the information in one place, and I remember only one place rather than trying to navigate through the.
You mean the Residents Association meetings?
Those ones included, yes.
We can take that on board.
All right, we can work through that issue and see if we can come up with something that works for people like yourself.
Yeah, I can pass the information that I've already collated to you if you want to take over, but for now it's live and active and as update as I could figure out from Facebook and other sources.
All right. Yeah. We'll take it on board and see what we can do. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
John.
Oh, sorry, John.
In relation to Darfield Hospital, as you probably would have seen, that the local member of parliament's got on board in an election year and has got behind it, so that's always good to see. And on a more serious note, I've sort of attended a couple of meetings with the Friends of the Darfield Hospital and the nurses group that run and manage the hospital, and although the details aren't publicly available, there are discussions happening. And one of the issues which everybody's aware of is that there's a national, international shortage of medical staff. But there are discussions underway, and I think it's important that the board advocates that the hospital does not fall into a state of disrepair, because at the moment there are 2 palliative care places, but the hospital isn't at the moment, but it'll be reviewed at the end of February, looking at getting respite care back underway. And my second point is, could I request an action point for cell phone coverage? Because that is probably something that is a major obstacle in parts of the district.
Thank you. Yep. Well, there's been a bit of a rollout of fibre up through Whitecliff the last couple of years. But even just driving to town. Other day I was driving to town, ran West Melbourne, bang, nothing. So, yeah. All right. Well, let's get on the list and help you. Thank you very much. Yeah. Good luck to your campaign. I've just been advised that Brian would like to talk in the public forum. So if you'd like to come on up and tell us your story, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Brian Donnelly. I'm the co-chair of Sheffield Waddington. Don't be concerned, this is my happy face. So this afternoon, Mr. Chair, I just want to update you on a few things that were brought up at the last meeting, where we were asked to go out and canvass opinion. So I've done that, and I'd just like to report back on some of those things. And then there are 2 points of concern that I want to bring up personally. Okay, just that they're my personal view. When I give you the feedback, this is the district view. I've canvassed Sheffield, Waddington, and a few people from Springfield and Annet. And so when I tell you, or when I give you their answers, it's their thoughts, not mine. I just went out and said, what do you think of this, that, or the other? First of all, congratulations, Mr. Gibbon, on your new role. Hopefully everything goes well. Good luck to the board. Good luck.
Can agree on that. Thank you.
For the upcoming year. So last meeting, we talked about the artwork that's proposed. I have to tell you, that the feedback has been negative. There are a number of people that just think the money could be spent better. Now, I understand that there's a fund and that a lot of work's been done. The community are saying, we actually don't want it. That's the community. When I say that, I'm talking about Sheffield, Waddington, some Springfield people. They just think it could be better spent. There's a whole body of opinion on how it could be better spent, but the point here is they just don't think a piece of metal outside the library is worth the money. They really don't. Alan, your caps, I went out and I spoke to people about that. You're to be commended for your initiative, but at this stage, a lot of people didn't think they could see any value or return in that. That's not to say it shouldn't go ahead. So good on you for bringing it up. I mean, if people don't put ideas forward, how are we to know? I'm never quite sure whether I should call you Miss or Mrs. Miss, okay.
Samantha's fine.
Okay, thank you. Your train versus bus, an enormous feedback, positive. What a great idea. And my personal opinion, yeah, advance it. Let's see where it goes, because people don't think a bus will work necessarily too well because of timings. I don't know how trains would work, but just to let you know, there's positive feedback on that. And we would certainly support any initiative that you put forward. Steve, you might be able to answer this. Who is the Selwyn representative on the local government board? It was Sam, is that right?
That's now Lydia, the mayor. So she she's not actually, she doesn't have a formal role actually. So that Selwyn doesn't have a representative anymore, to be clear.
Okay. It's just that people were asking me who, and I thought, I don't know. I'll find out. Yep. That's great. Thank you for that.
How are we going through your list, Brian?
Yep, just 2 more points.
Keep it going, please.
Waimak Bridge.
Yep.
That's enough said about that. I think
I can provide a quick update within my exec director's report on that.
Okay, yep, that's fine. Can you...
Your personal ones?
Yeah, Sheffield Hall tables. We've got like 15 old wooden tables that are rickety, and I look around all the other community centres and they've got these flash tables that are plastic, and just wondering if we can ever get them replaced. That's it from me. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Any questions?
Are there any questions before you disappear?
Great.
Thank you. All right, well, we now move on to the next item on the agenda is the confirmation of the minutes of the last meeting held on the 15th of December. You've all had them in the emails and so forth. Is someone prepared to move those as a true and correct record? You'd move that. Thank you, Alan. And a seconder.
I'll second it. Oh, sorry. Either of us, you choose.
Samantha. All right, so I'll put that to the board. All in favour say aye. Aye. All in favour, please say aye. John? You're in favour, say aye.
Aye, sorry.
Passed. Thank you.
Actions from previous items, so just pass.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair. We've had a late attendee. Is there any possibility that they could have a chance to speak to the meeting?
Has it been previously notified?
I gather it was notified to governance, but it may not have got through there.
Well, look, in the interest of democracy, yes, but please keep it to the point.
Apologies.
Right now. Could you tell us your name, please? Sorry, could you tell us your name, please?
Shell Webster from Sheffield.
Oh, I should know you, yes.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Just on the while they're reassessing the roading speed limits and things, the Woodington corner, there's a couple of little tiny things that could be done that would save more accidents there. There's a mirror round the corner and it's just on a white pole. If that had something, a bit of stripe or a bit of colour or a bit of sign saying mirror, people would actually use it. It gets lost in the background. And the other one, we were there yesterday putting up signs for the Sheffield show across on Derek's side. There's actually no room for a truck and a trailer to sit if the train's coming, to sit at that crossing. So they sit on the main road, and that's what causes people to try and go around them either side, inside or outside.
So if they're going to Oxford,
Yeah, there's no
where they meant to wait.
Yeah.
Well,
But there's no white line, you know, with the zigzaggy or whatever you call it.
so these are transit issues, aren't they?
They are,
All
but
right.
if no one raises them through,
Yeah.
they're just not listening.
Okay.
Yeah. No, that's about it. Yep.
Thank you. Any questions? We've got a meeting coming up with transit, whether we can throw that on.
Yeah.
We've got a meeting about speeds through Sheffield.
Well, anything will help because
So-
there's another crash on Christmas Day. It's actually, you can see all the way up the road. So it's just those little issues.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, got it. Now, actions from previous minutes. What have we got here, Steve?
Yeah, so the action table in the agenda is pretty much everything's covered off in my executive director's report. There's probably one request and one bit of information. So I'll deal with the request first. Is that the action around the dashboard on Snap Send Solve is working on the best way to present that live information. And what I'd like to do is give this to the board after the meeting to show you how it can be displayed. So the next time we actually display it, it's had your input before we put it as a summary back in front of the public. So if you're okay with that, we'll do that straight after this meeting. But the dashboard has got accurate information there, and I can give you a summary of how many snaps and solves are across the district and how many specifically in Malvern and exactly what they are, how many we've closed and how many we've got open and what month we've received them. So you get a bit of a sense of how well it's being utilised from our community. The second one is it was around the civil defence training for board members, and I think actually this is a really important piece of training given I guess the events of the last couple of weeks, but also given the importance of the role that the MCB and our local communities play in civil defence response when something does happen. So to that point, the team, our civil defence team, are available on the 25th of February. And I know that there has been a request, Barry, to try and make it on the 26th, but our team aren't available. But
The diaries aren't showing that.
okay, so they're not available. What we'd like to say is, look, we want to book this in so you can coordinate it. And I appreciate there's a bit of extra travel, but climb. Okay, great. So we'll lock in the 25th.
What day is it, please?
The 25th of February.
Wednesday. 2 days before day before our meeting.
Yeah, and that's what Barry rightfully raises. Could we try and coordinate it so we do the civil defence training in the morning and then we move to board meeting in the afternoon? And the team have tried to accommodate that, but they haven't been able to.
Can you zoom in?
We can look. I think what we can try and do is, but we want you to get the training. There might be a couple of other opportunities where we can slot you into broader community training, so it just won't be targeted at Malvern. It'll be more district specific. So we might, if you can't make it, we'll find another way to get you that training.
Thanks.
That,
There's a way, Alan, of engaging you with the local group.
Yeah.
With some of their training that will actually help overlap.
Yeah.
That perhaps.
I'll confirm with another beer. He's in charge.
Good luck.
so they're the actions. Hopefully, and we'll get into the detail through my executive report. Mr. Chair.
Thank you much. Well, that's pretty brief and simple. So let's go on to your executive director's report.
Thank you. So,
We can change that name, are we, on the wood papers for next
oh
one?
yeah, we probably better. But I think so. I'm going to take the bulk of the report as read, and I've actually asked some of the team to come out today and talk to you to parts of this report. So, whilst UA's walking up here to talk about the request we've had at the last meeting around bus shelters for Kurawee, what I might also take the opportunity is to give you a quick update on what I understand about the Waimak Bridge, because I've had the question raised in the last 24 hours as to the damage that appears, or the lifting of the surface that appears to be occurring on the surface of the bridge. And what we understand is actually, as the bridge was being laid and cars were coming across, after we just opened up the bridge, someone did a burnout on the bridge, and that's what's lifted the material. So it isn't actually a surface or a treatment or a solution issue. It's a damage issue by a user. The team are working now to coordinate a repair on that, which could take a day, but it won't be a closure for a full day. It could be 2 to 3 partial closures for 30 to 40 minutes whilst each spot is repaired and spot repaired. Now, there'll be based on our feedback and our experience from the last time, there will be some really clear communications that come out to the community on this basis. And there will be supportive messages to say this is when it's going to happen, this is likely impact, avoid roughly these travel times. What we're trying to work out at the moment is when is the next clear available 3 clear weather days. But Yue, is there anything you can add to that for me, or is that about right? Cool. Okay. So, look, UA is just going to have a quick chat about bus shelters. And this was a question that was raised around how we might align our bus shelter to the public transport route. It seems like a simple task. UA is going to give us a bit more detail.
Yes, thank you, Steve. Kia ora and good afternoon. My name is Yue Li. I'm Council's Transportation Asset Planning Manager. So I'm happy to be here to provide you an update on the progress regarding the bus stop in front of the Challenge Station on State Highway 73. So shortly before Christmas 2025, the council got a request from the community board that the community board proposes to relocate an existing bus shelter from a private property to the current location at that bus stop. This bus stop actually has a history, and we have previously worked with NZTA, worked with ECAN, trying to secure funding to improve that bus stop. And we are aware of the community needs, and also we have looked at the historical service requests, and we worked with ECAN to get their input on the things necessary to be there, including a firm area to step on and step off, and maybe tactile pavers. And this bus stop location is complicated in that it would involve Environment Canterbury, NZTA, and Southern District Council. Why? It is because that while bus service is being run by Environment Canterbury, the bus infrastructure, the stop infrastructure, is to be provided by road controlling authorities. So for state highway, the road controlling authority is NZTA. So if we want to do any road surface improvement over there, it is NZTA's responsibility. And there are certain intricacies over here as well. What about roadside infrastructure? So this actually depends on whether that location is within the urban area or whether it is in a rural area. So it happens to be in the urban area. So the roadside outside curb to curb, it is SDC's responsibility regarding the bus infrastructure. So you see how this is a situation, and actually we requested NZTA, their multimodal team, to put in a request for funding in the current NLTP period, National Land Transportation Program, in this period, in the 24 to 27 period, to put in this bus stop improvement as a candidate, and they put it on as their candidate. And also because we later followed on with customer service request from Malvern District Council, they say, yes, we're going to prioritize this because you supplied us with the community input. So unfortunately, in the last round, the national government basically decided there's very little funding for public transportation infrastructure, both on the local council level and also at the NZTA level. So we recently learned from NZTA that their funding request has not been successful. Therefore, they are not in a position to provide bus stop improvement, basically bus shelter improvement over there. But we do have good news in that, well, because this is a gray area, that the council actually is responsible for providing that bus stop infrastructure. And we happens to have a proper bus shelter in our storage. So we can put that bus shelter into this place rather than relocating a existing bus shelter, which is quite small and not up to the safety standard, according to our design teams. So since getting the push from Samantha, thank you very much. We have been working with NZTA, both their multimodal team at the national level and also their North Canterbury safety engineer regarding how to best coordinate this. So they supplied input regarding the proper bus location, because right now the location of that bus stop is right in front of the challenge station. If the bus pulls in over there, the vehicle exiting the petrol station will have their view or sight distance blocked. That's one unsafe situation. The other unsafe situation is that, as you can see, when the bus pulls in there, it would go on to the footpath, which is unsafe for pedestrians. So we have tentatively agreed on that we're going to pull back that location, the location of that bus stop, by a few meters, and then construct a proper bus pull-in area on the state highway. So that bus pull-in area will need to be supplied by NZTA, while we Malvern District Council, we take care of the roadside, including the putting in the bus shelter and also the footpath connections, so hard areas. So that's where we are. And we have produced a preliminary draft, and with a cost estimate of $100,000, $30,000 would be SDC, and $70,000 would be NZTA. And we are ready to supply that input to NZTA, and their safety engineer will consider accommodating this work on the state highway.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, just so we're all clear, we're talking about going to Christchurch on the right-hand side.
The left.
The left.
Yes.
Now, you've got the new footpath just been made there. We're in relation to where the new footpath is, whereabouts is the bus stop going to be?
back, the new, I see the new footpath
Yeah.
a few meters back. So there is still an area that it has the footpath, but does not have curb and channels. So we're going to actually construct a curb and channel over there with a proper pulling area for the bus on the state highway carriageway surface.
You sure you're not getting the road too narrow at a choke point?
I think I just went there. There is still room. All designers had went through that.
All right, well, when you're doing that, can you, on the other side, when the bus comes out from town and drops the school children off, can you get a decent surface there too for them?
No, the location. I think the location on the other side is not over directly opposite there, is it?
Can I comment on that?
Certainly. Yeah.
I think the Kiwi community actually prefer that it's on the left, because on the right, the bus drops you off and then you sort of head home. So you don't really need a shelter or a proper stop like you do on the way. Well, you have people waiting and wanting to commute, waiting in the weather. So, and that's why the Kiwi community requested specifically, for the bus shelter to be placed on the left, not the right.
Well, can we, Steve, that's everything we need to know? It's through Selwyn District now. You're waiting on transit.
Yeah, I think that the story. Oh, sorry, Sam.
I just wanted to add, is that all right?
Certainly.
Yeah. So first of all, I just wanted to thank Yunwei for following through on the request and dealing with NZTA. I really appreciate your help. The original request from Kirby went to council in 2023, and that's when it was put into the low cost risk public transport program. And however, as you say, it was not allocated any fund in the 2024 and 2027 period. They then moved it to be a project for potential funding in 2027. So because of that length of time, NZTA agreed to work with council to find an interim solution. And we're so pleased that you found a bus shelter in storage. And I look forward to letting my community know that it will be progressing. And look forward to working with you and understanding timings of when it will be installed in hopefully the near future.
Yes, we'll keep you updated.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think what you can pick out of that too is that nothing's easy. And the number of parties that UA's had to juggle in order to achieve what is relatively simple on the surface is a bit of a summary of how transport corridor planning works across rail and road. Look, and speaking of road, I've also got the note in there about the speed consultation, and want to invite members of the community, Michelle, thank you for coming in, to really take the opportunity to let NZTA know about the speed limit issues within your district and within our district. Whether you're an MCB ward member or you live here, or if you live anywhere else in Selwyn, like, take the advantage and take the opportunity to let them know if there are any issues. I understand the consultation's open now, and I'm just getting cool, and it's due the 6th of March. So the link is provided in my report. And so by all means, and I imagine the Malvern Community Board will probably be putting a position in there too. In relation to this, I've also had a question in regards to, I guess, the parking near Sheffield Pie Shop as to whether or not council undertakes any enforcement or parking management in this space. And what I can tell you is that we don't, unless someone puts a complaint in there. And then we will follow up with that complaint. But at this stage, we don't send anyone out to do parking enforcement in this area. And that pretty consistent with other small townships we have, based on also the resourcing that council has in and around this space. But happy to take any questions on that. Otherwise, I can keep working through my report.
Just, one thing with the speed limit changes, Watuta and Arthur's Pass are devastated that their requests weren't upheld. And if you've been up there during summertime, The place is absolutely chocker and swimming with people, and we've got 50, 60, 70 kilometre an hour B-train trucks coming straight through the middle of the village. And we proposed a very, I thought, comprehensive and risk managed proposal through to NZTA, and it seems to us that was rejected out of hand. We're absolutely at a loss as to what more information that we could provide, short of a fatality, that would convince them that there's a change needed there. And I know we've got a meeting this Saturday, and there will be some considerable dust raised there. I'm just at it. We're kind of devastated as to know what would be our next steps to provide more information to Waka Kotahi, short of getting them standing there in the middle of the road, facing that traffic themselves.
Thank you. Can I ask you, Steve, we're talking about Sheffield and Kirwee. Are we talking about moving the Darfield one further west before you hit 50? Or is it not on the list at this stage?
Not entirely sure it's on the list. No.
Just, okay, so Darfield, the community board will have to put a thing in for Darfield for that and Highway 74 down past the high school. Yeah. All right, it's a separate issue.
Yeah.
Is it an appropriate time to introduce a couple of more ideas on comments about transport? Is it an appropriate time at the moment to talk to two more issues with transport?
Are they not covered in Steve's
Not
report?
covered in Steve's report, no. That's just things that are, well, one that's been asked for previously and one that's come up recently. The recent one was a milk tanker driver expressing extreme frustration constantly when they drive off Telegraph Road to get onto the State Highway 1 at the bottom there, and he's begging them to put a roundabout in. He said it would solve a lot of issues at Norwood.
Yeah, okay.
And the second one is the urgent need for a right turning bay on the State Highway at Aylesbury Corner for traffic going from Kirwee turning onto Bearley Road.
Yes.
At the moment, that road's constrained. You've got sight vision issues on the left-hand side with trees that are there, and traffic coming around the corner at high speed. And the we've nearly been rear-ended ourselves a couple of times there from people not paying attention behind us. Suddenly to jink out the way. A turning bay while there's room there wouldn't be a silly idea.
If you're happy, Mr. Chair, I'm happy to take those points and maybe bring something back either before the next meeting or at the next meeting. So we'll make that an action point for me.
Can I just add to that the traffic heading to Christchurch from Harada to go onto the highway, they've got to go to the rail line for a start, and then they come up and then they've got to turn right to go to Christchurch. And you're coming from Christchurch, and they've only got one thing in mind for them to get home. And it's a real issue there because, you know, we had a friend who had we had two friends and they were very serious car crashes there.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So if I'm, sorry, Bex.
All good. Yeah, okay. I'm just getting back to the pie shop yet again. Brian Donnelly was really nice to spend some time with us this week and going and explain everything that's happening and the chances of another fatality, which they've only had one just before Christmas, are looking pretty high at the moment, and it is getting really, really dangerous. After listening to Samantha and how she got in there, I'm having similar issues with it's NZTA and trying to get everyone working together. So thank you so much, because I'm sitting there going, nearly pulling my hair out, going, who can I deal with? Because I'm trying to pull every department together. So thank you for giving me a bit more hope. I'm going to fight it a bit more. But yeah, the pie shop is major, and I don't know if just the speed limit, that's not going to solve it. So I'm hoping you've given, Steve's given me the crash data for around there, but it's not most up to date. I don't know. It seems to be even maybe a year out or so. It's few that aren't on there, but I'll work with you with that and with John Berry, and we'll try and solve that. Thank you.
Thank you, Rach. Right, carry on, please, Steve.
Thank you. James, just going to come and give a quick update on Sheffield Pool.
Thanks, Steve. Good afternoon, everyone. What I thought I might do before I dive into the detail where we're currently at is just step back a bit and talk about where we've come from. So we went through a special consultative process on the potential divestment of Sheffield Pool last year and came to the conclusion that it was going to be transferred to the Community Trust. And probably carrying on that theme of nothing's as easy as you'd hope for, it sits on 4 parcels of land. We owned a couple of them. One parcel's dockland and another is a deceased estate. So before we can pass that land on, that asset on, we needed to basically gain ownership of that parcel of land. So the legal team have been working through that application with LINZ so that it can be transferred across to the Community Trust. That's required a little bit of work. We've had to resurvey the land. And that's been completed, and the application, the adverse possession application, is going through to LINZ very soon. So the Executive Director of Community Services and Facilities has signed that today. We're hopeful that the Trust will sign it in the next week or so, and then the application will go in. Bearing or hoping that there's no major pushback from the community in terms of people coming up with, we don't want that land sold, or actually we own that land and we didn't tell you, or a whole lot of other potential gremlins coming up. We're hopeful that within the next 6 to 12 months it'll be resolved. So it is a long process. It's not a common process that council undertakes or LINZ even undertakes. So we are working through that as quickly as we can. In the meantime, other work has happened. So we've worked with some volunteers in the community about how to empty the pool, how to fill the pool, how to backwash the pool, and we'll carry on doing that in preparation for next season, as well as talking about other training opportunities that may sit in place, just so there's no IP loss during that transfer, or as little as possible anyway. So that's where we're at the moment. Happy to take any questions.
So just from my point of view, the won't be open this year, will it?
It won't be open this summer. No.
Summer, sorry. Yeah. But if all these problems came up when you wanted to change ownership, if you hadn't have decided as council to hand it back to the community, would you have carried on just using it the way it was?
We're very clear on the council was very clear on the position that they wanted to either demolish the pool or divest the pool. So there was no other option of running it another season. In fact, it was run for another season to get the consultation underway. So that was the direction we got at the time, and that's what we followed.
Thank you. Questions?
The question that I have from the community, you might be able to help me with the answer, James, is that the title as it is at the moment wasn't an impediment to the council operating the pool. So why has this become a linchpin in transferring and operating it? Couldn't the community group operate it while the titles are being sorted out?
It's a very good question. There's a lawyer behind you that would love to answer that, I'm sure, but I'll give it a crack and she'll tell me how much I butcher it. Essentially, the council was going to take on all the risk if we let the trust operate the pool while we owned it. So there was a risk issue. The other part of that as well is there need to be continued operation or continued ownership by one party of that title so that we could gain it. So we couldn't. I guess if the asset transfer happened in a funny way and continued ownership and operation didn't occur, then we're putting the trust at risk that they'd never be able to gain that parcel of land. But happy for Sophie to. No, she's giving me a thumbs up. It wasn't too bad. Getting my honorary legal degree too, Steve.
So was there a possibility that a lease agreement could have been entered into to mitigate the risk and enable it to continue?
There was a possibility, but not one that we were comfortable with the risk profile of.
Thank you. Does that clean up the pool issue, members?
Just a really quick one. Just from talking to the locals and information that they've got. So they were saying that there's cracks in the pool and that's caused slumping, and there's like big pockets where everything behind it's gone. If this title and everything, it takes about a year to come through. in the meantime, is there any chance that they can work to actually try and get these repairs done? Because if it takes a year and then they need to then start doing the repairs, it's going to be 2 years before anyone can actually use it.
Yes, I understand the question, but no, I don't think they can start the work on it as yet. There's a engineer's report that council are pretty confident in, and the trust has also gone away and got their own engineer's report, which disputes some of that. So there's a bit of dispute about how bad it is, and I don't think anyone's actually going to know for sure until they get in there. But that work will have to wait until the trust has ownership of the site.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Thanks, James. David's going to pop up now. So part of the request is to just get a bit of a breakdown on the capital works coming forward or planned or underway in the ward. And David's provided a bit of an overview, which is an attachment 1 to your papers. And I guess, David, we can probably just ask for any questions, unless there's anything you'd like to add to that.
No, sorry. Good afternoon, everybody. Yes, no, I was going to phrase it the same way. If anybody had any specific questions, it's probably better to act that way. I will start off perhaps with a bit of an apology. I've only been in the role a couple of months, so I'm still coming up to speed. So some of the answers may be that I have to go away and find the answer and come back. So my apologies for that.
So there are a number which may or may not be within your program and may sit with Selwyn Water, but there's nothing in there in that list that lets me know what's happening in the Hororata area and the areas back further up through Whitecliffs. And there's quite a substantial capital program going on in water there. There's nothing in there about what's happening with the Darfield sewage connection, and there's nothing in there with the Others Pass water mains upgrade, which is currently being done. So I'm a bit interested in what else, if all of those water projects and sewage aren't in there, what else is not in there?
Well, do we have an answer for that?
So probably don't, unfortunately, because I don't know a lot about the water side of things. Obviously, with the transfer across to Selwyn Water, there's been a huge effort in the last few months, and things have moved across. I don't know if you've got any information, sorry, without putting you on the spot.
So I think what we might do is if we hold the questions on Selwyn Water, and we might see if Alex is happy to swap seats. But if you've got any other questions that maybe aren't water related.
But it's not whether it's water related or not. It's a capital project that's in the long-term plan. So therefore it's a long-term plan, and it doesn't matter who it's being delivered by. It should be in that report that's been pulled out.
Noted. But we may not be taking it from the LTP program of works. There might be another data source. And David, can you articulate what that looks like?
Yes, maybe. It's like everybody said, there's no easy answer or easy process for a lot of these things. So it is quite challenging and complicated. So as things standing at the moment, all the water work is quite literally transferred over into another entity. And so Selwyn District Council might be aware of things, but they don't know the specifics and the details.
Yeah. So to round that one out, we've got a report that we're bringing for information, and your question's appropriate.
Yeah.
But let us come away and let's continue to populate this report for you, so we can round it out, because it will then need a partnership with Selwyn Water.
Yeah, and the challenge at the moment is that we're halfway through a financial year where things are changing over, so it's sort of 6 of one, half a dozen the other, which makes life harder again.
Yeah, but if you're pulling a Power BI report that says what capital projects have we got underway, and it's building that information out of the grand financial plan, I don't really care who's delivering it. It should be in there, because if that's an accounting program.
Yeah,
we've hit the comment.
Yeah.
Can I add another project to the list?
Yes.
Yep. The connection to the Pines wastewater system for Darfield and Kirwi. I'm interested in Kirwi, but both would be good.
Another one for Selwyn
Thank
Water.
you.
So, yeah. Okay. It was easy and hard both at the same time. Thank you.
Thanks, David. Look, we might swap places, Alex, and what we can do is take the feedback on board. And I mean, the idea of us, this is the first time you've seen this report, and it's great to get that feedback. I think actually what that means is that the way in which we bring the next report back will be slightly different. Alex.
One of the other challenges as well is our systems don't work particularly easy to be able to identify things by wards. So we're trying to work through that as well to be able to get more a better outcome. So it's just one of the challenges as well.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So
Alex.
Dean, can Coleridge be added, please? Coleridge. With all the water.
welcome, Alex. Now you're from Selwyn Water.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alex Cabrera. I work for Selwyn Water. I had the privilege to attend a meeting of this board last year, which was very helpful. And I think at that time with John, we talk about coming back again. So here I am. We were in the middle of the establishment of Selwyn Water that time. As our colleagues mentioned, we are in the middle of the transfer of assets, functions, capital projects, and various other parts of the operation. So it's been a really good opportunity to assess the data, the systems. Probably fair to say there are a number of improvements that we have identified, and I think similar to those that you just flagged in terms of that kind of clarity, the scoping and the allocation of priorities across those. So I'll talk about that in a minute. The other thing I wanted to note is the council and the councillors, which are a few joining us here today, have asked that Selwyn Water enhance its engagement with the community, that we are open and transparent. So with your permission, I would like to make this attendance a fairly regular feature so that we can provide with the updates that you have requested. And in terms of where we're at with things, on the 18th of December, decisions were, let me go a step back. So Selwyn Water is the first of the CCOs established under the new legislation. So we are probably about 12 months, if not 18 months ahead of kind of the second and third, which is great. Yeah, this is good for the region in terms of, undertaking this piece of work, particularly ahead of some of the other larger pieces of local government reform that are coming in the not too distant future. But what it means is that we are essentially drafting the playbook as we go along. Yeah. That is challenging, but has provided with a great opportunity to go back to the community and check how would you like us to do things. So in terms of this point around capital assets, so it's one of many things that we would like to come back to you once the transfer has completed. So all those records that you were asking for, that's just being worked through. We are taking this as an opportunity to do a bit of a deep dive so that we understand exactly where things are at. We look at what improvements can be made, but this is kind of the real opportunity here to come back to you and say, these are the things that we got on the list. Does it all make sense? We're taking the long-term plan as the source document. So essentially we have mirrored that into what we're going to do going forward. But there is an opportunity to work through clarity of the outcome that we're trying to achieve. Looking at
Could I just butt in here? But you're talking over my head. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
We, as members of the community, want to know when the White Cliffs Harada water is going to be progressed and finished. When's the well down here at Crake Road? And what is it? Is it water for Kerwee? Was it water for Darfield? These are the things that we don't know, and I've lived here my life, and it's never been so bad for lack of.
So just to clarify that point, that's the information the council is now transferring to Selwyn Water. So as soon as we get that information, we'll be able to answer that question.
And I think if we take these points on board, that the regular report back from Alex to this meeting can provide some of that local information to the questions from the locals.
Well, you see, but the locals, the contract has changed hands, but is it still Cord's contract? And it, you know, there's a whole lot of, the reason why the vote was election went the way it did, because these are the things that, but they want to be answered now. So can we get something to the 26th, our meeting in February?
We can provide you with a further update. Selwyn Water Limited will take responsibilities for some of those functions on the 1st of July 2026. So that's, I guess, what you hear from our colleagues. We're still in the process of getting the information from Selwyn District Council and transferring to Selwyn Water. So as soon as that's completed, we'll be more than happy to provide.
But in the meantime, what do we tell people?
In the meantime, we maintain the business as usual. I mean, the same channels are still in place. When no conservation water notices are issued through the Selwyn District Council website in the same way. So the transition process has been designed to minimize the impact on the community. So there is no kind of questions as to how do I do this or not. Selwyn Water Limited, together with the council, will be working on an engagement plan where we'll be outlining all of those changes and when they occur.
Do we have a list of community concerns around the water? Like you named a few
I'd like
examples.
to give you 3 or 4 lists.
Yeah.
So I think if we can get those from the board members, send them through to Alex and I,
Yeah.
and then let us go away and tell you when we can give you the answer, and then we will bring the answer.
Yeah, I think that would be a good step.
Well, okay, so as a board, we'll have something to you for the next meeting.
And the other thing I was going to say is that we are very keen to kind of hear from the board in terms of what would be the best way to engage more directly with the community. So we talk about some visibility around the projects and where they're taking place, how advanced they are. What is the best way of doing that? Is that, through the board? Is it directly with the community? Is it, community sessions or something?
If I just ask you a question that's something that a lot of people are asking me, and is that when Selwyn Water takes over completely on July 1, and if the ratepayers want to do something, do they contact you direct? And are you going to be separate entity from council or a council-owned entity? So how does it work?
We are a separate legal entity, but we have one shareholder, which is Selwyn District Council.
But how does it work? How do the ratepayers, do they make an application for extra water to Selwyn Limited?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And all of that will be outlined in our engagement plan, which is being developed at the moment.
Okay. So it's we're in a bit of a.
We're in a transition phase, and that's why I think the hesitation across, what has transferred or not. So we got the legal mechanisms now to do this, but we are in that kind of process where we're doing a due diligence of all activity. But as Steve said, very happy to respond to specific questions. If we can take them through Steve, and then we'll come back with an answer on those. But the full plan and the full, kind of new ways of engaging with the community, that's something that we are very interested to develop with you. We don't want to make assumptions as to kind of what may or may not work. We got a blank piece of paper. So kind of my request to you is, what's the best way of doing that?
All right. John, did you have something on your mind?
Yes, no, look, thanks for coming along, Alex. And given that the community board is to engage and advocate, the engagement's happened and the advocacy is about to begin. So the people in Hororata, generally speaking, would appreciate some graphic representation to show where the water comes from and who it services, because I know, or I believe, that there is a technical issue that the rivers flush in the winter, but in the summer they don't, and that increases turbidity. So maybe, given the number of hold water, stop water, etc., a bit of a communication out to the community with a graphic representation so people know where their water comes from, and some indication that long term it's going to be different, but that's going to require fairly extensive capital works. And then the second one, which goes back a little bit before Selwyn Water's time, is there is a degree of apprehension in Kirwi and particularly in Darfield about when people are going to have their connections, because the new subdivisions have spent $30,000 on a in-site septic tank system, and the figures that Selwyn District Council have come up with were sort of $850 plus a $350 connection fee. And again, if some sort of, and I know it's a busy time, plan could be said, what we're going to do, and this is just my view, obviously not Selwyn Waters, that we're going to prioritise the business sector and get them connected, and that will happen about June, July 28. Then we're going to look at the other older parts of Selwyn, and that will happen at 2030, long past my worrying about it. And then we're going to come down to the newer subdivisions like Chrissy Oaks, and that will probably happen in about 2040. And I definitely won't be worrying.
I think, I mean, John, thank you for that. And that's really useful feedback. And that's precisely, what we want to be talking about at the moment in terms of, what will kind of make sense. We can prioritize things. But the other thing that's really important is in terms of what's the kind of the timing of this, the cost and weight that we can do to manage that. That's what we want to engage with you so that we're not kind of guessing what that prioritization needs to be. Yeah, it's that kind of so that connection to the community and really giving us an opportunity to fine tune the plans. That is what we incredibly value right now.
So again, in my advocacy role, is there a possibility of getting out in the near future a timetable? Because people are apprehensive, and if they knew something was going to happen early in 2027, at least they may not be happy with it, but at least it's information and they can start to plan and know a timeline.
Yes, that's right. And that's a definitely yes for me. We are working on the transition of the capital works program. So that information will be checked and assessed. And I think once we get that, we can come back to you and say that this makes sense and this is an opportunity to kind of fine tune that. And then we can go to the broader community and seek some kind of feedback on that. Great, John.
Thank you.
In terms of the collaborative approach, the world is not all bad. We've got a mains upgrade happening in other parts at this point. And speaking with a couple of the local guys from Fens, there was some interest in having the fire hydrants positioned a little more friendly in locality to where access tracks and such like were, and we've managed to engage with both Selwyn Water and with the contractors on site to be able to get those changes made at no cost, and another minor upgrade to the system done at the same time. So there is flexibility, but a lot of that is about building those collaborative relationships with the teams and everybody being open to those ideas. And I'd just like to congratulate all of the team that's working there on that particular project at their open-mindedness to be able to accommodate those things.
Thank you.
Alex, I have one question. We're talking about a transition period from the plans that have been put in place for future capital works by the previous Selwyn District Council, now moving to Selwyn Water. The order that they were put in to be done, that's not changing at all. So we can go back. So like the Colgate, for instance, are looking at a large water storage tank and upgrade. Are they still going to be getting that at the same sort of time frame?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think that's where, we take in the long-term plan, which is the document that kind of guides all of this activity, and we mirroring that. Particular, I think, we don't want to any disruption. We don't want to say, stop everything. We're going to rethink about it. So year one and maybe year two might look a little bit similar to what we have there, but this gives us an opportunity, as I said, to recalibrate those plans and to look at a prioritization criteria that is, worked through with the community. Selwyn, I know probably that Selwyn region more towards the hills than maybe Rolleston, but it's a very diverse community, right? So you got the fastest growing region. We got, the challenges around the environment and weather and all of that. So some flexibility in the plans, I think, will be required to adapt quickly. So we can't control the weather, but we can control how we respond to some of the stuff. Again, that's not something that I can dream up sitting in the office. There's something we need to come out and talk to people and understand what we could do. If I go back to the reason why Selwood Water was established, right, it's just to have that laser focus on drinking water and wastewater, right? So the council asked us not to get distracted with everything. I mean, councils have a really broad kind of range of services they provide to the community. We just want to focus on those two. We want to bring a slightly more commercial approach to this, so that in terms of the way we're managing the contractors, the flexibility to respond quickly to things, we're trying to build all of that into the focus. And at the same time, as I said before, we hear from the council transparency, openness. We want to be very focused on cost so that we can, invest on the infrastructure, but reduce the cost of maintaining and supporting the infrastructure. When you said all of that fast, doesn't sound too complicated, but it's probably just slightly less complicated than building a new bus shelter.
Well, thank you very much.
Sorry?
Just a final comment is that Kerwee did raise the issue, and Samantha may like to add to it, about the fire hydrants and a backflow valve, but I'm not technical.
I think we got that sorted for that particular case, but we might have to learn from that and see.
I think just for the benefit of time, get your questions into Alex and I as to what you want resolved, and then let us come back to you on when we can do it.
Thank you. Well, I think we've got to move on.
We're going to move on. So I'll take the rest of my report as read. There is an update. Sophie's here to answer any questions on the last part of it, but otherwise open to questions through you, Mr. Chair.
All right. Well,
Mover in a second.
yes, there's a remover and a seconder for seconded. Steve's report be received. All in favour, say aye. Aye. Against, carried. Thank you.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair.
Yep.
So just a brief point. Noticing the material on page whatever about the community board, I was wondering whether the independence of the community board, its own unincorporated legal entity, whether or not, for completeness, when the minutes, section 52, the role of the community boards from the Local Government Act, could be included verbatim, just to show what the legislation actually says.
Yeah, I think that's a good addition to that movement. Thank you.
Yes, there's quite a bit to that section 52 that needs working through, and previous councils probably ignored it, so thank you, John. Now the next item, Steve, what do we have now?
Yours.
On my report, it's very, very brief, but and I won't read it out. I'll take it as being read, but I must thank the members of the community and the members of the community board who made the grotto thing happen, because that was a testing point for this new board. If we hadn't had that there, we'd had our fingers pointed at us and it would have been our fault. When in retrospect, it was never a job that the community board did, but they certainly helped. But I went along, and as I said in my report, on Friday, the last day, Friday afternoon, and met the people there that I hadn't seen since ages, some with wee kids, some with grandkids, and school holiday time. It was a joy to see, actually. So, and from my point of view, I think it's worth doing again. And I said, let's get in my report, let's get on to it and get in by October. But I think the new committee, whoever's going to do it, needs to have it done by October, because once you get into October, it's Labour weekend, and then it's show weekend, and then Christmas is there. But we can't have another event, another misunderstanding, shall we call it, right? And so we just keep on moving through the reports.
So you need to move. So you move.
So I'll move that my report be received. Someone second.
I'll second it.
Thank you much. All in favour, say aye. Against, carried.
Questions?
Are there any questions?
Oh, yeah, just a comment. At 7 p.m. on the 11th of February in the library, there's a public meeting where the agenda is to say who wants to step up and run the grotto for 2026, because I don't want to speak for any other association, but at the moment, no one has stood up, and the public meetings to have a community to have an input. There'll be an advert in the Malvern News and also online. Of February at 7 p.m. at the Darfield Library. The 11th of February. Yeah, Wednesday the 11th at 7 p.m.
It's gone, but have you've been in touch, Harvey rather, have you been in touch with Harvey? Okay, thank you.
Okay, so just a few pages, but a lot of it's going on from the previous month with it. So basically, most of December was caught up in the grotto side of things and helping set it up, do the advertising and marketing. John helped me with a lot of it as well. And although it was a lot of personal energy and a few days standing there giving out little gifts, which was so cool, I have to say. And the young ones just so appreciated. It would be nice to actually this year we'll try and get some sponsorship, and I'm quite keen to still be linked into it in some way. So that's the basics of that. Regarding my local community groups, I just caught up with the locals again this week, but I've been doing quite a lot behind the scenes. We've got a wee set up where we're getting messages all the time coming through, and they're trying to work out at the moment a bike track with the council, and they're hoping the council can supply some shingle for it through the domain. Basically the pavilion's been handed over, although it's council still owns it. This is in Sheffield. The rugby community have taken over, and they're currently replacing kitchen and actually doing things, and they're letting locals that are qualified and skilled to do that. The ground's getting resowed between cricket and rugby season, and they're putting heaps of iron fertiliser on it. Like big thing at the moment is the NZTA speed limit under general business. That's what that's going to be linked to. The Go Harada, there's been no meeting. I'm still working with the tennis court side of it. We've got weeds coming up through the middle of it, but the trees are quite a long way away and not around the outside. And I think it's going to cost like possibly hundreds of thousands to possibly block the trees at some point. But in the meantime, we're just doing a quick fix. Glen Tunnel, the big thing, exciting thing there is the new rubber road that's going in. So basically 3,000 tyres per mile are going to be mulched down into little stone type chips and put down, and so that's going to be happening possibly later February rather than early February now. And the went to their summer social just on Sunday as well, and so it's quite cool to see them come together. It is an older group in the Glen Tunnel area. It'd be nice to see some young ones linking in there a bit more. Coleridge is trying to do a disability walkway through cemetery, which is council land, but through every lots of different types of land, and they want a disability ramp in the hall. Huge issues with water. I'm currently in the process of trying to organise, which I'll through Steve, all the different areas to come together because there's just so many issues there. Fireplace wall was fixed in the last week, which has been something they've been waiting for the last year. And they're working on the 10-year plan, and the tennis court is apparently going to get the lines put around it shortly. Other than that, I had a meeting with the reserves team, and they were really helpful. It was so nice to walk out there and just feel they actually really cared for what the community want, and so I'm really looking forward to working with them for a lot of different things. The CAP's mixed emotions. Glen Tunnel thought it was a great idea, and Sheffield, as you heard, wasn't received as well, and there's lots of things regarding the art that people are coming up with ideas of what they'd like to see. So that's just basically me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right, so any further questions for Bex? All right, would you
What could I next?
Could I move my report, please?
Second.
That's all right. Fine.
So mine's quite short and sweet. Have been engaging with both the locals and with the contractors on a couple of those jobs up there, and we've had some really good local success. One of the outcomes has been that in the past, and universally probably across the whole of the Selwyn district, the public opinion has been that the council haven't worked very well at engaging with the public and getting things done that they might have done. And I'd have to say that a lot of that's been turned around, and people have got a lot more confidence at others parts about actually putting in snaps and solves and then raising them through, and we're following them through and getting those jobs done. And to the point where it's lifted my profile within the organisation as well, and we're having some unsolicited stuff coming through, which has been really great, and really happy to that level of services is being acknowledged. And I have nothing further to add. I'd just like to move my report to be accepted, please.
I'll second it.
Please. Oh, sorry. I always get this right, don't I?
Okay, had an interesting meeting. John Berry and I attended the Darfield Residents Association meeting. Quite good feedback there relating to the Santa Parade. Excellent feedback, high rate of satisfaction. And John spoke about the idea of a public meeting in February to talk further about a township committee take on the grotto. Harvey reported that a $3,000 grant was given by the council to go to the Santa Parade and provided financials. And of that money, $600, $200 each went to the Lions Club providing marshalling. St. John's for being there for first aid, the community patrol for their free sausage sizzle. He reported the jail is still seeing plenty of international visitors, and basically every day there are new names in the visitor book. He discussed the rail corridor and that rude graffiti that we saw earlier on today. And this is 14th of January was they'd spoken to railways, nothing's done about it. And you know, he's basically reiterated that we need to get in touch with them. He spoke further about the beautification work. And also he talked about a street cleanup in Darfield, noting that some of the company frontages aren't that tidy. Accolades to council because Tussock Square now has water flowing again. And the dogs liked it. They got a drink from it the other day. And council are also proceeding with security cameras for the recreation centre, which is also appreciated. I've also done a couple of trips into Christchurch in relation to the grotto signage, getting those changed and altered. And it's been an interesting afternoon as an off at the Santa's Grotto, which I'd happily do again. And those who supported the event, particularly John Berry and Bex, for the amount of work you put in was absolutely wonderful. Had an inquiry from Denise regarding the caps for Lincoln Springs Ward, and we've got the rates on those for her. Samuel was talking about them for West Melton as well. So while we may not have universal support from everyone, though there's sufficient positive feedback, including that of the mayor, for it to proceed. And Councillor Berry has done some work with the council, with the financial team as far as getting the purchasing side and the what do you call those things, John? General ledgers adjusted. I've done some work on a welcome to Darfield sign, because one of the things that Harvey raised quite well, quite meaningfully,
is that Darfield's now a lot bigger than those original signs that we put in with Paul Stewart 25 years ago. So there are now basically 5 entrances to Darfield that could do with having new signage. And this is something that, from my own point of view, I think it's something that the ratepayers should be looking at, putting as much effort as they can into it, so that it lessens the amount of money we need to seek from council. But happy to go and do the design work gratis for that. And I've also raised an issue of and I've done the drawings, and I shall pass said drawings over. This relates to the idea of having some Malvern County welcomes you signs, because at the moment no one knows where Malvern County starts, ends, finishes, or otherwise. You could pass some of those around. They're basically modelled on the state highway signs from NZTA. I've done 2 options. One's off Samantha's excellent artwork she provided, but the other one's basically the same colours of an NZTA services sign. Some more of those around, which I think you'd have a better chance of getting them to allow us to put those on the state highway. So those around, please. So that's something that we could discuss further and help brand the district and make it more welcoming.
Thank you.
And that's enough from me.
Well, you'll be busy, and I wasn't able to get to the RA meeting, but that's another story.
Can I get my approved, sorry? Can I get my
Just gonna take
oh,
some
sorry.
questions.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Apologies.
I've been interested. I've been interested in different response by different DRAs and residents groups about the caps. But I belong to another organisation, and they've just come out with a national branding idea of a cap, and they're selling these. This is nationally for $28 plus $5 postage. So how was what was your?
The ones that we did for the Darford home on the home under the range, under the Alps, were around we were talking around selling price at around $25. And the more involved one with the round logo stitched to it would be around $29. But that's giving some funds back from every cap sold to go back to those local communities who market them.
Yeah, well, this organisation I'm involved with is trying to do the same thing. So your price is about right. So that's what I was going to say. I mean, as a measure from, because when we first heard it was another different idea. So what's going on, but it's not too far away. Any members got questions from Alan? All right.
Springfield was quite supportive of the caps.
That's good. All right. Well, I'll move that your report be. Someone move it. Alan's report.
You move your report.
I'll move my report be seconded.
And I'll second it.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favour, say aye. Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. I'll assume my report's been read, and I'll just provide the highlights. So, first of all, around the relocation of the 2 unused bus shelters, has already provided extensive update for that, so I will skip that update. Kiwi community also raised safety concerns around the junction of State Highway 73 and Tramway Road and Ansons Road, and really close to the Courtney Road turnoff. I'm still in the process of collating information, so I will continue to progress this issue, and hopefully we'll have an update to the board next month on it. With regards to the artwork, the public artwork, Kiwi Residents Association indicate they're not to proceed with the artwork. They request the council to come back to the Residents Association on how the 20K will be spent. The wider Kiwi community also fed back that they raised concerns regarding the timing and scope of the proposed artwork project in light of the current financial constraints and community priorities. They feel strongly that the resources should be directed to its essential infrastructure and core utilities. They also propose that the signage could incorporate a dual functionality of a functional element and a signage or a wayfinding feature of some sort. The community would be also more accepting if the artist was a local to the community. The Malvern Community Arts Council has also provided feedback. They are in favour of the artwork design and they are in support of it proceeding. They feel that it's important for community funded artworks be supported and that considerations be given to local artists for any future opportunities. With regards to the CAPS proposal, Kiwi residents were not supportive of this initiative. The Malvern Community Board 3-year strategy plan. So I have drafted up the 3-year strategy plan for the board. It was sent out for circulation, and earlier this afternoon, the board had a chance to meet and provide very useful feedback. So I thank you for the board's time. I will work in revising the draft into a final format. I would like to request the council publish the draft 3-year strategy plan on the council websites to enable wider community feedback. Would that be possible?
Steve?
There is
I think the best way to do that might be through tabling that through your report and we attach it to the minutes, or we might put it on the formal board agenda for your next meeting. That they may be two ways to consider how best to do that, to ensure that you are getting the message out to your people. Let me, and it's also, I guess, that kind of thinking a bit on my feet, it might actually be good if I can have a look at it too, to understand what is being proposed before we publish it, so that I can say we can do these things, or actually, did you know how much money that's going to cost? So if we can have a look at that, but look to the February meeting to deal with this issue, would that be okay?
Well, from my point of view, it's good. We just want to keep it moving, and it's still technically a draft form, although we've refined it today. But you know, another set of eyes, another committee to look at it. Well, I think it won't distract from it. It will help it get going. And if next February meeting be all right, Samantha?
So the process I thought of following, and I did discuss with governance, there is on the Selwyn website, there is a section for Malvern Community Board to put a link there so that people can view the proposal. So yes, I can attach it to the minutes, but what I'm wanting to also do is actually put a communication out to my community to say, you know, it's been drafted up, here's the link to go to. So the strategy plan is about us as a board and what we want to achieve, and it's very high level. So happy to provide you with a copy to have a look. Maybe you could have a look and just let us know if it's appropriate to post, because I would like to keep it moving to get community feedback. It is not the final draft. We're not saying that this is it. It's merely just to provide visibility to the community to feedback. Yeah.
Yeah. And I completely support that approach. I think it's just whether or not you would maybe want to get staff advice on the ability to deliver some of the things, because some of the staff time is going to have to go into supporting the board and doing some of these activities. But until I've seen, because I haven't seen it, and so what I can't do is give you commentary on what role council will have to play in supporting you, or if there is any role at all. And because I haven't seen it, that's
fine.
my
I don't
caution.
think we had. I think that was for us to do, not council. But I will happily supply you the copy of the report. Oh no, John has something to say.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea that the copy of the report be provided to Mr. Gibbling to delegate or get someone to look at. And as you know, finances isn't my area, but I believe that everything in the draft plan can be achieved within the current board's budget.
Yeah.
And the other thing I was thinking of was too that maybe board members can get it out to our residents associations and other people that they deal with in the community, as well as what Samantha suggested.
and I guess that's the purpose of having a link. Like if it's linked into the website, then everyone has direct access. But I'll supply Steve with the report first before we move in that direction.
Yeah.
So the next item on my list is regarding simplifying local government proposal. This matter is being raised for discussion and the board's determination as to whether it would be appropriate to provide a submission from the MCB, which I am happy to draft up and obtain feedback and draft up for the board members' comments. There is an opportunity for the MCB to propose to deliver more effective and efficient service by empowering the local community boards with more authority. I'll just pause to get feedback.
Well, the question of local authority is between council and your side of the coin, isn't it?
Yeah, and if I take on that is that it's a desire to see more effective and clear delegations to be decided and given to the Malvern Community Board from Council, then that is an approach we're already undertaking. We're starting with the paper coming later this month around the road naming, or sorry, in February around road naming. But it's, yeah, I think that's maybe where the board need to decide where do you want to get some delegated authority to make decisions yourself rather than having to refer it back to council. And then the proposal would be to council for them, council to decide to then delegate. So I think it's appropriate what you're proposing.
Brilliant. And does is the board in agreement for me to draft something out with your feedback?
I would support Samantha drafting on behalf of the board a submission from the board which fits quite comfortably under Section 52 of the Local Government Act.
Sounds like you've read this act lately.
I'm just like to express I'm a little confused. The simplifying local government proposal, I thought that related to government's request for submissions into their operations and simplifying local government at their level.
Was RMA one?
With the RMA one,
Yeah.
all the rest of it. So I apologise if I sound dumb on this, but that's what I was under the impression it was, and that your proposal related to the government submissions, which close, I believe, 20th February. Apologies if I'm wrong.
Well, Steve, what do we?
We actually did a public workshop with our councillors on Tuesday about the 13 odd different bits of reform and legislation that are being consulted on at the moment. In terms of simplifying local government, I think that is the structural alignment of local government within New Zealand, and I still think the Malvern Community Board can and should have a voice in that, in the same way that individuals across our district should look at submitting on some of these things, because it is going to affect how local government is organised in our patch. There isn't a specific question within the framework at the moment about what happens to community boards, but I think if the direction of travel is a reorganisation and amalgamation in the future, then how community boards play a part in that, I think it's within scope, because it's actually how communities make decisions about their future.
All right.
So-
Well, now you've still got one other thing to mention.
Yep, I'm still going with my report. Yeah. Oh yeah, so engagement with the commuter train trial. So just an update. So I have engaged with NZTA and Environmental Canterbury, and I drafted up a proposal around the commuter train trial for Malvern. It has been seen by the Senior Strategy Manager of Environmental Canterbury, and he is in support for us to continue to the next step. His suggestion is we try and tack on to the events train that Mainland Rail is organising. So I will now move to the second stage of engaging with Mainland Rail around the proposal and getting their feedback. On this note, I am also keen to hear from the wider community on their thoughts about putting the proposal together and about having a train trial. And I also wanted to request whether the council could load the copy of the proposal on the website so it would be easier for the community to feedback. And Steve's probably going to want to look at a copy first before it's loaded, which I'm happy to supply.
I think that one's a different issue than the strategic plan. But look, I'm happy to receive it, and I'm happy to do as much as I can to promote that for
Brilliant.
you and for the board, if that's the board's decision.
Yes, I do. There were a few more items raised this week regarding Kirwi hydrant and road infrastructure, but I'm still working with council on that, and I'll provide an update at my next at the next board meeting. I would just like to make a note to the board that during the elections, I agreed to communicate with my community in various ways because not everyone is technological savvy on Facebook. So it's really a note to say that I am wanting to put a publication in the newspaper to gain community feedback around the activities I'm supporting the community with, like the commuter trains and other items. So it's just the note to the board that I will be doing that.
I'd like to make the comment that a sandwich board may be helpful. It would be better.
Does that help you, Samantha?
No.
In terms of, through you, Mr. Chair, in terms of budget, we will get to that at the end, but there is, from an advertising in general, there is money in your budget for you to do advertising. So,
oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I wasn't intending to use any of the MCB budget, but I will consider it now. Thank you.
withdraw that statement then.
I would like my monthly report to be received by the board, please.
Second it.
Thank you.
Well, any discussions? All in favour, say aye. Thank you. Yeah, John.
And then a few words, I believe. Now, the Community Funding Assessment Panel, with the board having lost the discretion to allocate it, at its meeting in December, it was raised that it would be helpful, and it's also been raised by some board members, that it would be helpful if, when the decisions are made centrally, they could be for Malvern, that maybe Denise could provide a summary and just say this was these were granted.
Yeah, I think that's we'll add that to the action list, John. Thank you.
On the 3rd of February at 7 o'clock, there's a meeting in Springfield, and some staff are very kindly coming along, and they're going to be helping the Springfield Community Association get some community feedback about how they can improve and use their halls. So just for clarity, it's not about closing the hall, but working with the council to try and get better utilisation of the hall. And then the sister cities, were you going to say something more on that, Samantha? Mainly that the Melbourne Community Board's got the relationship with Ubetsu, and Samantha and the Sister Cities Committee are doing some work in progress, and that'll probably come back to the board in February.
So I have drafted out a 3-year plan for Ubetsu to be included into the MCB 3-year plan. So I do have a meeting with a few stakeholders to review that plan in February and then have an update to the board in February.
Thank you. John, the meeting at the 3rd of February, it's just Springfield, just about the hall.
No, it's also about the flood mitigation
Bishop's
working
Creek.
group
Yeah,
and,
yeah, it's about Bishop's Creek flooding.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, yeah, so.
and also, about emergency management preparedness.
Okay,
So that ends my report and I'll move that be accepted.
thank you. A second?
And I'll
Yes.
second it. Well,
Oh, well, I'll second it, yeah. All in favour, say aye. Right, thank you. Well, time's marching on and we've got, we still got the financial report to do. Yeah.
So I'll quickly speak to that. I'll take the report as read. The response to the questions from the board's last meeting are on the last couple of pages of that report in terms of how do we set the purchase order and the GL process up, and I would be the approver of that. So once the board's made the decision, then we can then start to set the system up and then put this into practice. Giving you a breakdown of the meeting rates, and what I'm intending to do is to your February meeting is to bring a formal paper for the board to decide on the meeting frequency for the annual plan period from July through to June 26, 27, because then we can then build the budget off whatever decision you make. Happy to take any questions from here.
All right, the report's open for discussion. You had your chance to have a look.
Yeah, just on that one there, Steve, that I know Malvern's the only one that's got a community board, and my view is that the fact that it's live streamed is part of a general localism and keeping the community informed. So maybe it shouldn't sit solely with the community board. There is another view that maybe if the costs of having it live streamed in Darfield was substantial, that some people would be maybe happy that the meeting occurs in Rolleston to try and save money. And the third and final point is that if it wasn't for the community board, then a whole lot of the requests that come through the community board would probably come through the councillor. So Selwyn District Council would still have to deal with them. And it just seems a little bit inequitable that because they're coming through the community board, which is more efficient, that the community board should be paying what would happen from the council to pay for. So I'm sure you're well aware of those, but thank you.
I think you've articulated potentially what should be some options that come through that paper for you to consider. Obviously, I need to then also let the council make the final decision. But I think it'd be really good to understand the frequency, but also some of those things you've raised are valid points around options. Because location, yes, one of the bigger costs is actually getting the IT out here. But we've got a really well provisioned council chambers, and it's how we manage that as a team, so that the community can touch base with the representatives, but also to keep an efficient model of operation might be something we consider and toy out in one of the options you get next month.
Thank you.
One, on the subject of the caps, could we please, do we have to go to a vote to proceed with the caps, or do we take it that we've had in, because we've got interest and it's not going to take a lot of time and effort on behalf of the board members, that we can carry on ahead and produce it, go ahead with it?
Probably procedurally, I think we've got a degree of indication now from around the district as to what. So potentially, Alan, you and I work offline and we pull a proposal together either within your report or the financial report to actually put a decision for the board to confirm, because it could mean a reallocation of some of the board's budget into a new expense area. Just to get the initial purchasing underway. And so maybe we take that offline as an action for the next meeting.
Good, yeah, like that.
Thank you. And just one other thing about Anzac Day commemoration is it'll when do we get the final bit on that? Is it a March thing? Or?
I understand that the events team have been working with the local communities who are running commemorative events around what the council policy is, what their level of support is. So I understand that's been happening. What we could maybe ask is an update that's brought back to the next meeting as to where things are at,
Yeah,
if that would help.
yeah. And any of us members needed to be at the services. All right.
Yeah.
Now there was that gets rid of that looks after the financial. Oh, someone prepared to move.
I'll move it. That's all right. I'm happy to move it.
Sorry. Yeah.
I'd be happy to move that.
Thank you, Alan. And seconded, John. All in favour, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Passed. Right, there's two new items of general business. They are school, yes. Alan's come up with an idea that we need to think about where the next schools are going to be built in Darfield. And he's had some discussion with Alan, with Steve. Would you like to carry on from that?
Yeah. Looking at the growth of Darfield, in a few short years, we're looking at around 2,500. Apologies. Looking at the projected growth of Darfield, in the next few short years, we can expect around 2,500 new housing units to be built. So I believe we need to be proactive rather than reactive about that. It's in council's mandate to be able to designate land for educational purposes before much more land is put into housing subdivision. I believe it would be remiss of this Melbourne Community Board if we didn't take steps to help future-proof our town. On that basis, I'd like to propose that request a resolution to council to provide a report to be tabled for the March meeting of the MCB regarding the potential for designating land for a new Darfield South primary school and potentially also an independent junior high school for the township. I'd also, so I've been thinking outside the square perhaps on it, but I'd like council to perhaps write to the Minister of Education on that matter with an idea that council actually purchase and designate that land for those proposed schools as an educational reserve on a basis that when the Ministry of Education did build schools on them, that they'd enter an agreement with council that they would build the schools but pay an ongoing ground lease for the sites. That's common practice in commercial real estate development, but I'm unaware of if this approach is ever taken by central government. But my logic is simple, and that this would share the effective cost of building new schools for Darfield, but it would also give an ongoing ground rent would give council a further income stream without demanding more of our hard-pressed ratepayers. If I could move that a resolution to that effect is lodged, I'd appreciate a seconder.
Well, before you do that, let's have some discussion about it.
Yes, true. Sorry.
Now, from the chair, can I just make a comment that the speed at which these sections get sold and developed depends on economic times, and we've seen a huge increase in the last few years, and particularly since the earthquakes after the Selwyn district's population. However, Darfield's still going to be another hub, I think, and you don't want to get this new school sites all swallowed up with housing and then wondering where you're going to put the next school. So, and that's the background to this, and so it's open for discussion by board. Should we submit to council the proposal that they look at where the schools will be?
Does schooling not just come under when new developments are created as part of that development planning?
I've got some advice that in terms of growth, so we got a bit of a sense around where growth is, and there's a growth tracker. And I think, we understand the pressures on the schooling system at the moment. The Ministry of Education is actually the requiring authority under the Act, not the council. We can only require and designate land for council purposes only, and because we're not running schools, we don't have the authority. But I think it's a valid question And I do think it is valid for the community board to work with council and or to write directly to the ministry about the need to continue to keep planning and to keep at pace with the growth in our district. So I think there's merit in this, but if we take the essence and the intent of the proposal from Alan, and we come back with a little bit of this is how we could do it at the next meeting, and then you maybe we put the formal proposal at that point that we take an action within what council can actually do and within what the Malvern Community Board can actually do.
Yep.
Would that be okay?
Yeah, totally happy with that. We just need to be proactive, I believe. You put the nail on the head.
All right, John?
Yeah, my comment there would be also, I think, would like to see the option open when the paper comes back at February, that the Malvern Community Board can advocate directly with the Ministry of Education.
And it can, yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, we've got a resolution that we basically submit to council to
Yes.
that we think this should be addressed for the future rather than be too late. So
Yeah, and just so we get the wording right, Ellen, if you could send us the wording of your proposal for the minutes. But if you could read that proposal out again, just so it's clear what the board are deciding.
Well, the first part of it was just, the first part was simple. Could I propose to request a resolution to council to provide a report to be tabled for the March meeting of the MCB regarding the potential for land, I'll take designating out, for land and for a new Darfield South primary school and potentially also an independent junior high school for the township. Well, that's the resolution, and the logic behind it is simple. The amount of growth in the district, Curlee, Darfield, Colgate's thriving, Glentunnel, there's people moving in. We're going to run out of educational space.
We could massage the language a little bit around that and identify it as the need for allocation of whatever, and because that then means that we're not actually doing the allocating, but we are advocating to another authority to say, look at your ideas. There is a need happening here.
Yeah.
right now, as chair, I've got to declare that if you mention a school in the south, I've got a commercial interest in that area, so I'd have to for which is a subdivision approval.
Yeah. So
with council. So I'd have to step aside from the.
I think at this point your conflict doesn't materialise because you're just asking for a report back from council officers, and if we take the intent that the resolution to council is you're asking me to bring you a report back.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So I think at this point there's no conflict, but at the point where you actually decide to agree something, that's where you may want to declare.
All right, just want to get it right.
Or donate the land.
Oh, no trouble. You'll second it. Right, any further discussion? Or I put the resolution, all in favour say aye. Aye, against, carried, thank you. That's a really important decision, and well done, Alan, yeah. Now, the other one, there was other matter of general business came up. Who had that? Bex, yeah.
Sorry, I might actually add Samantha as part of this too, actually. So I wanted to prepare a resolution to write on behalf of the Malvern Community Board to prepare and submit to the NZTA speed limit on behalf of Sheffield Waddington, and I don't know if you'd like to join in with that with QE. Yes, no. Yes, so what I was wanting to do is just put a submission on behalf of the community board saying that we are all in favour of it changing.
Yeah, the Kiwi Association will also be putting a submission.
Absolutely, but I feel like there should also be one from the Malvern Community Board as well. So basically the resolution was if we I'm happy to prepare and submit on NZTA's speed limit for Sheffield Waddington, and it's classed as just QE, is it? On the And the speed limit, I'm just.
Per week.
Wait, it's
Yeah,
just, yeah, I
correct.
wasn't sure if there's, yes,
Thank you.
so that's it,
So that's the resolution you would like to submit
yes.
to NZTA.
I'll second.
So if you've moved it there,
I would move that, yes, please.
John will second it. All right, any further discussion on it? All quite clear? That excludes anything for Darfield and Bangor Road that will have to come up the next meeting. All right, no further discussion to put the resolution. All in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried, thank you. I think we're there.
I think we are.
Well, if we're off the meeting now, before we close, what's the next step about the logo? No, yes. Okay, yeah. Good. And
So formally declare the meeting closed.
I'll formally declare the meeting closed and thank you for your attendance and participation. Thank you.